everybody, every beautiful soul out there in this world, right? So today we are paying attention to our words in different ways, and specifically when it comes to how to meet someone who are going through a challenge, or if we are going through a challenge, things of that nature, right? So it's so important, it's more important, but we're going to come into that. So welcome again. Today is Wednesday, July 17th. Actually, I can't believe that we have started to eat from the rest of the year, right? So it's soon going to be Christmas again. How fast things go. And you are watching Cosmic Guardians with Anne and Corinne today, and we are going to talk about guiding light, how to inspire and support those facing trauma, grief, and challenges. In other words, how do we express ourselves to people?
Mhm.
Plus your questions, and we do mini readings for those who so desire. And I know that not many have requested that yet. So, but anyway, we do it if you want to.
Yes.
We intend to be live with you every week on Wednesdays, and usually this time, 10 a.m. Pacific time, 12 noon Central time, 1 p.m. Eastern time, 7 p.m. Sweden, and 8 p.m. Greece. And last week we were honored to have special guest Bob Eden on again, discussing the myth of mental illness and well-being. And that is important to talk about too, right? Because
Mhm.
we can kind of make some talk about conversations about how to talk to someone who are in that state too, right? If
Yes.
you missed last week's show or want to catch up with any of our past episodes, you can find us at facebook.com/Cosmic Guardians, youtube.com/ at Angel Place on Earth. And you can read articles, past episodes, and upcoming shows and more at angelplaceonearth.com/Cosmic Guardians. So I actually created a section for us over there so we can have that.
Wow.
And how are you, Corinne, my beautiful cosmic wonder and sister?
Well, I'm enjoying life. Life certainly gives us opportunities to experience a gambit of things, and it's sometimes it comes all at once, and sometimes it comes in little increments. But learning how to navigate and again, what we're going to be talking about is what we might say to somebody that's having a situation that may be challenging. However, we first need to say the words to ourselves and be able to go, okay, well, this is going to be, a bumpy way, but that's okay because look, I've got my life jacket on and I've got this and this is we're just going to take it and see what happens. And what we say to ourselves is key because that's going to set how we speak to others. So this is a
Yes.
key thing that we really need to remember.
Plus something else, actually, how we talk to ourselves sets the tone for how we allow others to speak to us.
You're very right. You're very right. What you're going to accept from them, and sometimes you may not get words of encouragement, but how are you going to perceive them? What are you going to do with it? How are you going to let it affect your energy? And that's why if you're fortified yourself with I am worthy, I am loved, but first of all, I love myself. And you have this in you when things of discouragement may come at you, you're able to understand that that person's going through whatever they're going through and don't take it personally. So there's just it's amazing, but really mastering how you go into a situation and all the cliches that we're taught, and we're going to kind of touch on those today, but um, yeah, this is exciting. This is exciting.
It is really exciting, and it's You said something like a saying that we used to believe in the old days, maybe not you and I, but the world, so to speak. So can you state that again? It says a whole lot about words. Do you remember it?
Probably not. What are if you refer to it, then I can.
Yeah, it's something about sticks and stones.
Oh yes, yes. The old thing of sticks and stones will break your bones, but words will never hurt you. And yes, sticks and stones do hurt, but the body will heal. But what is said to you goes internally, and it just it's like a cancer. It keeps growing, and it starts making you think ill of yourself. And words are more damaging. No, we don't want to go out and get sticked and stoned, but words are extremely
No,
damaging. So learning to master your words, learning to find words that come from empathy rather than sympathy. Sympathy has a tendency to indicate worry or you should do better, and judgment. Where empathy is coming from, I feel what you're feeling. So hopefully today, some of the phrases that we might think about working on will allow people to go into a situation where someone has lost a job. Maybe they've been betrayed by a lover. Maybe they're terminal. Maybe they just lost the opportunity to play in professional sports. How do you really talk to these people? And how do you really be there for them and not just have something that you just toss out there? So hopefully we can play with this today.
I think we are going to do it excellent, right?
Well, we're going to be doing it as best that we are capable of doing and having fun at it, and hope that
Yeah.
it brings enlightenment to some other people.
Yeah, and I think that I can start if you want to. I have my own personal experience because I lost a boyfriend. We were very, very young. I was not even 20, I was 19, and he was 20. And we were together for 2.5 years, and we were planning, having a bigger place to move into and things of that nature. But when this happened, he died of an accident, and I couldn't function because it's coming like a shock. Um, I think when you lose someone, it doesn't really matter if it's going to be time before. Maybe that's even harder. But when someone just dies in an accident, it's from one moment to the other, and they are just gone. And I visited my work because I just wanted to come there and see them because I didn't go for a week, and then I was supposed to be staying at home one more week, I think, but I went there and I came in, and they were always very cheerful, and I know they loved me. I was like a little mascot because I was youngest, and I
Yeah.
started as when you learn an occupation at the place, but they didn't know how to manage it, so everybody was so quiet. They didn't know what to say, and I
Hmm.
think that um, that's something we don't need to punish ourselves for that either, right?
No.
But I think that just being present with someone, and we don't need to talk all the time, but I'm here for
Yeah.
you,
Yes.
instead of saying, "Oh, you're going to forget about that. That's going to pass. You're so young," right? Like other people said.
Hmm.
It doesn't function like that actually, because you never forget, but you learn to accept it because you have no other choice, right?
Coping, and
Oh,
and and
yeah,
and
coping.
coping allows us to get through something, but it doesn't really resolve, and and that leaves a lot of things open for another situation to kind of trigger that situation. Um, And it is true when something happens abruptly like that and you have no plan for it, everyone is there in their own personal shock, and everyone is trying to deal with it as best they can. And perhaps in a situation like that, just having someone come over and put their arms around you and say, I'm here for you. We're all here.
Yeah.
We're all going through
Or
this.
touch his shoulder. Yes.
Exactly.
Whatever.
And and not feel that they have to come up with something uh, cliche. And since we started with this one, I'll just jump right into that. That, oh, they're in a better place.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, personally, I have been in the other place, and I know what it's like when people pass to the other side, and it's wonderful. However, not everyone has had that experience. So saying that to someone just bluntly, well, how do you know they're going to, and where do you know they're going, and how do you know? I mean, this is just a cliche. Wouldn't it be more healing if they said something like, I'm here for you. What do you need right now? What you're going through is very challenging, but you have our support. Things like this, rather than categorizing where they should go. And another thing is letting people feel what they're feeling. If they're feeling anger, let them feel anger. If they're feeling frustration, let them feel it and experience it, and
Yeah.
then they can let it go. So
Yeah.
that's
I
interesting.
think that goes for crying as well, because many people, and I think this is a very human aspect of us. We don't want to be near something we consider to be negative, right?
That's
Because it
right.
doesn't feel comfortable. But on the other note, we can't escape it. So if someone is grieving or going through, have a shock, or there's some other problems or challenges or whatever, we are not supposed to pile it up. It's way better. You're going to come through it and coping with it much easier and more differently if you actually allow yourself to be
To
angry, to
Mhm.
grieve, to cry, sometimes even laugh.
Well, interesting about tears. Chemically, tears have a different chemical composition for joy, for fear, for pain, and for sorrow. They literally are different. So if you think of tears as allowing the body to let go of some of the chemicals that are going through the body, because everything is chemical, our fear, our anger, and everything else. If we allow it to cleanse it, we're in a much better place. And you're able to then move to um, be able to see the other things. But finding the words to give support without being like you're trying to tell them how to live their life. And when we come into a situation where we see someone else in a situation where they've been devastated, it also brings into reality that this could happen to me. And I think that is
Yeah,
the shield that we put up the most. We know that that could happen to us, but if we ignore it, then it won't happen to us. But guess what? Life is full of experiences, and that is part of it. So,
yeah.
you know,
I think eventually, one way or another, we're all going to experience most of these things, right? Going through
mhm,
them. Um, Either by being someone close to someone going through it or experience it ourselves, right? So it's a good thing to know how to cope. And my first loss in my life was my great grandmother. I was 10. I didn't know
yeah,
that. I was small. But she was like my mom, actually.
yeah,
And I know I went into I didn't want to show to anyone that I cried. So I went into the bathroom and
Yeah. But
that's a little bit sad.
that doesn't allow you to process uh, the experience, because uh, feeling loss hits upon a whole lot of things. It hits on the feelings of abandonment. It feels on what am I going to do without this person? Uh, I depended on this person, and so we're dealing with a whole lot of things ourselves, as are the people that are right in the situation. And
Yeah.
one of the things that I think that we should eliminate anytime that a person's going through something is, I understand. You know,
Yeah.
because unless you're feeling what they're feeling, you can't understand all that's hitting them. Now, you had a loss. My son made his transition when he was 11. Um, we've both had physical losses of people. However, where I was coming from was totally different than what you were coming from. So I can't say I understand. But what if I said, I'm here for whatever you need? I care
Yeah.
about you. It's safe to express
But
yourself.
yes, it is. And it's something interesting came to mind right now because a lot of people, because I was so young, and many people around me told that you are young, you're going to overcome it, you're going to forget about him.
Yeah.
Even his parents said that to me. And it's I don't blame anyone for it, but I think it's interesting remembering things. I haven't been thinking about this for a very long time, but it's interesting how we cope. And that's how people try, like you were talking about. Instead of saying I understand, they express they know better and what someone else is going through. But you can't really do that for anyone. You can't
No,
really. No.
unless you're feeling what's raging through there. And I think what I'm learning, the more that I am getting into working with words, I'm and using my words to inspire, it's putting yourself in that person's place. How would you feel if those words were given to you at that time? How is it going to uplift you? Is it going to shut you down? Is it going to make you feel guilty? So before you say something to someone, how would you feel if you were in that situation and someone said these words? Would they be like a knife in the back? Would they be like a soothing balm, that makes it all better? So thinking about what you're saying before you say it, and coming up with different ways of approaching it instead of falling back on the old cliches. And I think the wiser we get and the more responsible we get for the words that we send out, is this
Yeah.
going to inspire, or is this going to, uh, especially when I see adults with children, here is this giant that is looking down on this small child, telling them, you're never going to amount to anything. You know this and I. How would it feel if I hired a giant to come in and stand
Yeah.
over them and blah, 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 to them? How would they feel? I mean, helpless, lost, scared. Uh, you know, I, being able to put
I
yourself in.
think, yes, I think if we try our best to monitor our words before we express them,
Mhm.
it's training, but it's very, very possible. It's not like a quick fix, like nothing is on this journey, right? But we can. And coming from the angle of uplifting someone else or just being there with them, right? because
Yes.
I heard something else. I just have to mention this. It's not about loss or anything, but it's connected to psychic advice. And I think that we are to be honest with what we see and get, right? But we need to think about how we express things. A dear friend of mine had someone reading for her, and the person said, "You are in for a big fight, or you have a fight coming." Oh my goodness. Uh, that created a whole lot of worry for her.
Yes.
I don't think that's the appropriate way of expressing it, because with saying something like that, what do I create for that person?
Hmm. And that is very true. And um, having discernment, and learning how to master that. And for instance, with that particular thing that you were talking about, because she's so worried about an upcoming fight, she's going to be looking for it. And so somebody says, "Good
Yeah.
morning," and she's going to take it totally different. And then that's going to be a fight. Maybe that's not what it was, and just dropping these things on people is carelessness in using words. And in the old days, back when we were taught manners, if you can't say something nice, don't say anything at all.
Yes,
And
exactly.
that's a pretty good one to live by. And I can remember as a child, there were many times that I just go, because I knew what I was going to say, you know, wasn't nice, and it wasn't my place to say it. So I think, um, but these are things that are not taught. It's like anything you want to say. It doesn't matter if it's going to hurt somebody or not, and we've gotten really really crazy with that. So what I think I'm asking our viewers to think about is, be the change, be the difference, be the one that when you have met a stranger or a friend, that you have left them with a different perspective, a different way of looking at things, an uplifting. And it doesn't have to be philosophical. It just has to be not the doom and gloom. And because there's enough of that around, you know.
Yeah, it is. And I think that on a spiritual level, because we also create with our words,
Hmm.
we create with our thoughts, we create in many different ways, right? Therefore,
Yes.
it's also very, very important what we are saying, how we say it. I think it's my personal view that we can say almost everything, but we need to deliver it in a good way.
Hmm. That's very true. And being able to find a way to temper something. For instance, I have a very close member of my family, and she found out that her husband is dealing with uh, as much doom and gloom as could come. And I thought to myself, okay, he's got the doctors telling him, doom and gloom, and she's got all of his kids telling her, oh, doom and gloom and everything else, and she's not a doom and gloom person. And I thought, what can I do to be of inspiration? And I came up with writing a letter of gratitude to this person and thanking them for all the joy that they have given this other person. And because they were so kind to this person, they have made my life so much, and saying thank you, and in the present tense, not, oh, I remember when you this. And I got so inspired that I thought, what if all the people that he meets daily that have enjoyed his company and enjoyed what he has done, what if instead of waiting until he dies to say, oh, this person was a great man and everything else, why not go and say, hey, you know, when you did such and such, it made my life better, or this, and let them see their value. Well, guess what? Guess what? They started doing this. And when they did, he went from not eating for 4 days, from accepting what was going to be his fate, so to speak. He's now gained weight. He's showing progress with the treatments that he's getting because he feels his value in this world. Now,
Yeah.
you know, and all it took was just changing the way that I was perceiving what he was going through. And
Yeah. You know, you have something beautiful, you say. You say to people, and you taught this to me, I see you, I appreciate you, I honor you, I love you,
yes,
right? I think
yes.
that goes way deeper than just saying, I love you, right? To see
Well,
someone, being there with them.
yes, because when you start seeing someone, you're touching into the essence of their true being. You're not looking at their persona. You're not looking at what they accomplished. You're not looking at how much money they have. You're sensing them as a valuable, valuable energy being. And
Yeah.
when you start seeing with love, it 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 just, I mean, things start shining. The trees have a glow to them. It's seeing the aura around things, and I'm telling you, it just gives me the tingles. I just love it.
We have someone here with us, Miss Bella Maria, and she says, it seems everything comes down to gratitude. I can actually put it up here so we can see.
Yes, yes,
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
yes,
It's about perception and perspective. Didn't we have a show about that a few weeks ago,
yes,
right?
yes. We did. Yes,
Everything is always connected. Everything is always connected, right?
yes, and gratitude doesn't have to be specified. It doesn't have to be because I got something, I'm grateful. Gratitude is, I have a little routine that I do every morning, and I sit in my backyard, and I am grateful for the trees. I am grateful for the grass. I'm grateful for the bed I slept in. I'm grateful for the food that I ate. I'm grateful for the fact that I'm breathing beautifully today. Being really sincerely grateful for everything around, all of a sudden you realize that you don't have to go get that to be grateful for. Oh, I'm grateful because I'm going on vacation. I'm grateful because this person is in my life. No, these are not these are not tactile. These are not here. And bringing that love into you, and gratitude and love are just, right there. You know.
Yeah, they are most important. And I think a lot of people in this world, at least as I hear when people talk and they call me and they ask questions and things, many are seeking happiness outside of themselves, right?
Hmm.
It's not going to come from this world. It's not coming in that way. It's not like if I find the right job, I'm going to be happy after that, or I find my person, um, I'm going to feel fulfilled. It doesn't work like that, right?
Correct.
Gratitude, and when you come from that place of self-love, I think that also if you start to develop and grow that within yourself, you can deal easier with challenges, because this life is not going to be roses every day. When we signed up for this, and I don't like to say it, but it's true. When we signed up for this and when we came here, we knew that, but we don't maybe remember that while we are in the chaos here sometimes. But also, chaos can, um, settle if we allow it, if we are not feeding the energy of chaos, right?
Hmm.
Does that make sense?
And it goes back to the yin and the yang. Without action, there can be no reaction. You can't build a house until you clear the foundation, and then build the foundation, and then build the house. So all through this turmoil, and that's what we're doing with ourselves. We're finding this wonderful thing called life, and we're finding bits and pieces that may need to be a little scrubbed and may need to be a little shinier, and that's the joy of it. And but when you find the gift of being able to light up somebody's life just by the words that you say, a complete stranger. I mean, I have gone into the ladies' room and there's someone doing the cleaning, and I will stop and say, I really appreciate how nice you keep this place. Do you realize I have said you are a person. I see you doing this as a service to me. I appreciate you. And they just light up. And I know that the rest of their day is going to have a different look to it because somebody
Yeah.
said thank you. And it doesn't take anything from me. And it gives me joy to bring uh, that look to a person's face and let them know that they have value. So
Everyone has value and we are all equals, because I promise that if that person didn't clean,
that's
everybody would
right.
notice and
Exactly.
everybody would complain. So it's very important. But we put labels on things and think that we are right.
Yeah.
I've been cleaning also for a couple of years in the past. And I had someone telling me that, how can you do that? I said, why not? It's an honorable job. It's a job like anything else. I'm not ashamed
Exactly.
of that. Someone needs to do that. If they wouldn't come here and pick up your garbage, you would be going nuts, right?
And I put at Christmas I put a big sign on my wall thanking the garbage men and thanking all the ones that come and clean the street because they make my life so much more beautiful. And uh, and it doesn't it really you get so much more than you have given when you just have that attitude of gratitude and you're free with it wherever you are. And I'm always asking if I see anybody in uniform, whatever uniform it is, I thank them for their service. And then I say, but I'm working on you never having to do this again, but thank you. Because
Yes.
it's a tough, and it takes nothing to make someone happy, and it gives you so much more. And then people do look at you a little like, I don't know what's wrong with her because she's happy all the time.
Yeah, but we can give that to anyone, right? That's okay.
That's
That's
true.
perfect.
That's true.
So you had a wonderful and beautiful suggestion of phrases to share with people or say when they are going through challenges. Do you remember
Uh,
those? Do you want me to say them?
well, would you please? Would you please? Yes.
Yes. For instance, instead of like bringing it back again a little bit, instead of saying you're going to come through it, or you're going to, everything is okay, they're okay on the other side, like bringing it back a little bit and to what we started to talk about, when people are going through real things we consider real challenges that are real challenges, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I am here for you.
Mm-hmm.
That's a very good thing to say. It's like you acknowledge them in the at the same time, and like you thank someone who's cleaning the loo, a public loo, right? You acknowledge them, but this is the same thing. I'm here for you. I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
No worries, right? I think that's says a whole lot of things to people
Yes.
and brings them into some sort of peace. Or acknowledging that really sounds challenging, right?
Mm-hmm.
And all of
Yes.
these phrases, one can make them fitting for each occasion in themselves, right? And
Correct.
what how 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 I feel in alignment with them, right?
Mm-hmm.
What do you need me to do right now? To
Yes.
ask that question, to have the courage to
Yes.
ask the question, right?
Not
Yes, please.
necessarily, bringing 19, casseroles that they're not going to need at that time, unless they have an army. But what do you need right now? Maybe I just need you to
Yeah,
go pick up the kids. Maybe I just need you to go get me a Coke or something. What do you need right now? And taking it away from what we need or what we think we should be doing, and what
yeah.
making that contact. Yes.
And I think the next one is exquisite because a lot of people want to give their advice, and of course, they come from a good intention, right? But maybe someone is not always in that place when they can hear all that good advice, right? So I hear you, I am listening.
Yes.
I love that.
The art of listening. Yes.
Yes. And you matter.
Yes.
You do matter, right?
Mhm.
That's also like I see you, I acknowledge you. And when someone cries or feels something that we label as negative, like being angry or anything, remember we have all our senses and all our feelings and emotions when we come here. We're not to suppress any, but we are also not to let them take over, right? But there are
Exactly.
moments, for instance, they are your feelings to feel, to let
Exactly.
someone feel it, to
Yes.
give them the space. And I feel sometimes maybe people, if they are um, a little bit insecure, maybe without judgment, right? I'm not judging. They don't really know how to cope with someone who's angry or swearing, but just let them,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yes.
Because trying to or crying, it's okay to cry. It's totally fine to cry.
It's okay to be
Nothing
angry.
wrong.
It's okay to be frustrated. Yes. Correct.
And also, you can say, I care about you. That's going to be a very genuine statement for someone, right? Because it shows that, okay, I care about you. I care. I do, right? I love that too. And you can say you are safe to express yourself. It is okay not to feel okay.
Exactly. That's a big one. That's a big one.
That, that's a really big one, right?
Giving yourself
So,
permission.
because a lot of people, yes, go ahead, please, go ahead.
No, no, no. I just was throwing that in. Please continue. Yes.
Because it's giving someone, exactly as you said, permission to just be in that moment. Because we are also supposed to be in the present moment. And when we don't feel very comfortable, if we have what we label as negative emotions or feelings, are we crying or angry or annoyed or irritated or grieving, we just many times we want to disappear, take me out of here, right? But that's
Hmm.
also something we feel, and that may be something that someone can express. Let them say it, let them
Exactly.
be themselves. And you are not alone, I'm here. by
It's
by
bigger.
doing saying something like that, you give them peace. because they don't feel lonely. They know that someone is here. Maybe you can't really do anything. And I think that many times we tend to get um, solution oriented, but there are so many things we can't solve, but we can be there,
Yes. And that
right?
that brings up something. I have a friend that has been going through a very interesting re-evaluating her entire life. And one of the things that she said is, don't try to fix it for the person. Be there for them, and maybe give them things that they can look at and see what will fit for them. But when you go into a situation and you try to fix it, you're fixing it from your own perspective and not necessarily what they need. So that's a big one, you know. And
That's a really big one. And
yeah.
I've been coping with that one because in my forehead, on my forehead here, it says problem solver. I came in with that energy, but we're not supposed to suppress ourselves either. You know what we do? We learn to use it
Mhm.
where it's supposed to be in
Yes.
the correct circumstances and places, right?
Yeah. Yes. And
And yeah, go ahead. No,
no,
go
no,
ahead.
you got a couple of more there. Yes.
Yeah. So you can tell someone you are loved.
Mhm.
I see you.
That's
I
right.
appreciate you. I'm here. You are loved. You're safe. You are valued.
Big
You're
one.
valued.
Big one. Big one.
Very big one because there are people who maybe they are not considering what they actually are expressing and saying, and they could say something, well, you've done this and this and this, so you deserve this. That's nasty, right?
Right. And there comes a time when you go into all that detail, but sometimes when a person's going through a crisis, they basically just need short things. I'm here for you. You're valued, rather than, oh, you're valued because you did. Well, in their time of crisis, they're not really thinking about all of that, because when they get into a rational mind, then they can go back and say, well, I really did this and I accomplished that, so I am valuable. But just filling them with the immediate things that they can kind of grasp onto, it's like, oh, well, there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and there, and so these are all great, and uh, but being conscious of what you're saying when you're saying it. And we do go into situations like that with our own stuff. And, oh, this would be horrible if it happened to me. I don't know what I could do if I was going through this. How are they going to fix this? Where are they going to live? And we got all these things that they also are probably doing, but we don't need to burden them with that. Just, hey, what do you need right now? I'm here. I'm listening.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And I think that is something, it's a very beautiful gift for someone.
And
You know,
and as you mentioned here, be gentle with yourself. This is the person that's going through this stuff. Um, Realize that you don't have to perform. You don't have to be the one that carries everybody through this. Um, so many times when a person is going through their own personal thing, the caregiver gets so involved that they forget to take care of themselves. And when they stop taking care of themselves, then they're not much help to the other person. And then it burdens the other person because the other person is thinking about you. And when you're going through, you know, terminal stuff or big this, there's really not a whole lot of room for you to be thinking about, well, I wonder how they're feeling. At that particular time, it's okay to think about you. And
exactly. And no one has to react as expected by everyone
Oh, yeah.
else.
Yeah.
And even when we don't, most of the time, we actually don't react in a way that people do expect. We may not behave, but that's okay too.
Yeah. And having there again, labeling how you're supposed to act in certain situations. Um, and when my house burned down, and I see it for the first time after it burned down, and I'm looking at it, and I have a unique way of looking at things. And my friend's husband was a contractor, and he was here. And I looked at him and I said, Rocky, I said, and my house has no roof on it because the roof had burned, and it's now my ceiling. And I said, Rocky, I said, when you rebuild this, this is how I want you to do it. I want you to put a roof that moves away so I can see the rain and the nighttime, and then close it up for the sunshine. Now we have all these inspectors around, and people that are thinking I burned my house down, and I'm making comments like this. So that was kind of not typical, and uh, but that's how I perceive things. That's how I look at things, and I go, okay, now what do we do? And but to judge somebody on how they should react when someone dies, or how someone should act when they've been betrayed, they have to find their way of dealing with that, and it's really, as I say a lot, none of your business. you know but to
Exactly.
but to just be there to hold their hand, that's great. Yes.
Yeah. Because we can determine how someone is going to actually cope with something and coming through it.
Hmm.
We can't say that. We can't say we have done it in a certain way, maybe for ourselves, right?
Yes.
We have seen others doing it, but none of us here are like everybody else. None of us. We're all unique.
It's until you are actually feeling the emotions. And I'm going to get a little personal here, but when my daughter was about 17, she came in and she said that she had decided that she was not going to engage in anything physical sexually until she was married, and that was a decision. And I said to her, I said, that is beautiful. However, when you have emotions running through your body, and things are changing, I said, you may have a different perspective of that. So don't judge yourself. I mean, hold that as thing, and I mean, don't go out and be precocious. However, until you are actually feeling the feeling, you really can't judge how you're going to respond to something. So just being in a neutral place and being there for whatever that person needs, I think, is going to be more supportive than all the cliches. Oh, you're better off with them gone. Oh, when the door shuts, the window opens. And when you get to where you have self-love, yes, this is true. There are no impossibilities, there are only possibilities. But not everybody's there. So
Exactly.
yeah.
And I wanted something came to mind, but it kind of passed. It went to the other side. I'm
It'll be
sorry.
back. It'll be back.
It's going to come back. But it's interesting, and I think that um, one of the best advices is to stay out of trying to navigate someone through.
Mhm.
You can navigate with being there, but that's not telling them what to do, right? And
Exactly.
I think that now I remember, a lot of people get stuck in opinions, so they create opinions about things, and they say that I'm going to, when I come to this place in my life, I'm going to do that, and this is how
Mhm.
it's going to be, and this, yeah, it it is okay to have a vision, but
Yes.
when we finally manifest something, I promise it's never going to look like what you think it's going to be. It's going to be different. Plus, if we are narrowing ourselves into boxes, we miss a whole lot of things that can come our way, right?
Yes, and also um, when you're really living with letting the universe kind of guide, it has such a greater vision for you than we could ever imagine. And when we say it has to be this way, it has to be this way, it has to be this way, we are disallowing for all of the other amazing possibilities. And it's beautiful. It really is. Um, you know, I kind of get a kick out of being here.
Me too, uh, actually. But it one needs to come to that place when we feel secure and there's a strength in here, and we feel that we don't really um, pay attention to. I mean, of course, we pay attention to what we express to others, how we manage ourselves, right? Because we come from love in the heart area. But what others' opinion about us is doesn't really matter, to be honest.
No,
They have their right to have their opinion. That's what a
that,
statement one can
that's
say, right?
that's correct. Yes,
Yeah. But
and
that's their perception of us or me or whatever, right? That's
mhm,
perfectly fine for them. And when we are coming to that place, also, we can say, okay, maybe I'm not being very close to that person. It doesn't mean there's anything wrong with me or them. Maybe we are not in alignment, and we're not supposed to be afraid either
exactly.
to detach a little bit and go with those who are going to give energy and being uplifting. That's how we move forward. And there's always changes in life as well. And sometimes we are with certain people for a certain time frame, and then some of them stay for a whole lifetime, others come and go, right? That's okay. It's natural.
It's interesting if we find out that we're allergic to a certain food, or we can't tolerate a certain thing, and for our health we leave it. And yet when it comes to a person, we feel that we're supposed to stay there and just be, uh, beat upon and knocked down and everything else. But because it's a person, we're supposed to just keep staying there. And I go, well, if that was a head of lettuce you're allergic to, you would just say, well, I'm not going to eat that anymore, and go eat another head of lettuce. And but we make it so complicated. We
Yeah,
really
we
do.
do. I think that is common to feel um, guilty for making a choice, right? But
Yes,
at the same time, the one who makes the choice may be the one walking away from something that's not conducive any longer. Maybe they actually do help themselves plus someone else as well
yes.
without realizing it, right?
I every opportunity that I have, and I'm very close to my ex-husband, and I will thank him for having the courage to have divorced me when he did, because it gave me an opportunity to have this incredible life that I have now. And I do want to tell everybody, my life is not like a Pollyanna. Everything is not peaches and cream 90% of the time. I still have my ups and my downs. I still have my boo-boos and my fix-its, but it's how I perceive them and what I do with what I perceive is what makes it different.
Yes, and
And
it is about your response to life.
mhm,
It's
yes,
how we respond. And
yes.
by the way, I'm going to make you laugh a little bit, and our viewers and listeners laugh a little bit. We are in for Mercury retrograde tomorrow.
Oh
Yay!
yeah, yeah. Here we go.
So I just say we're going to say something briefly about that. It is considered a challenging energy, and because I am who I am, and I who I have been also, I used to I'm a Gemini, so it's my planet, and I'm very affected. It took quite some time before I actually realized. But because everything is energy, we can work with every energy. So there's always a benefit that, energies have polarities. On one side, I'm going to fight it. I did. I'm so stubborn. I fighted it. And that's not going to go anywhere good, right? And then I learned to go with it. So there are other options than fighting energies. And Mercury retrograde is famous for messing up technical stuff, like phones, computer stuff of that nature, communication, but it's excellent for going inwards and plan and daydream and think about things for the future.
Mhm.
It's excellent for that. And getting rid of some things you carry within you
Yeah,
instead of fighting it. Yeah.
cleaning the house. And it's interesting that you said technical because 2 nights ago, when you got a message coming in, the phone does its little beep beep thing and everything else. 15 times that thing beeped and nothing was there. And I'm going, okay, we must be playing with Mercury again. Thank you for letting me know. And, and then it was like, okay. But yes, it is. And I love the way that you say it gives you a chance to go in and do some house cleaning. And
Yes.
and there again, please be gentle with yourself because when you approach something with gratitude and joy and seeing what's going to be able to come out of it, it's not a fight. It's a
No.
whoa, that isn't going to work. So let's move this and let's move that. And it's more of a dance than it is a getting in there and I'm going to do this and I'm more of a dancer than I am a fighter. So, you
I
know,
am a little bit of a warrior, to be honest.
oh, I'm a big warrior, but there's times when the dance comes. But even even
Yeah.
even in kung fu, it's a dance.
Yeah,
Even in
it is a dance.
even in a sword fight, it's a dance.
Yeah,
So,
it is a
you
dance.
know,
So, but I think that it's good to know. And many years ago, I used to fight the energy, and it didn't end up very well for me because it's also about when we get angry and really annoyed and irritated, and we start maybe to swear and do stuff of that nature. We do create more because I always say something in the energy of anger. It may actually sometimes be more energy contained because it's a strong energy and we release it. So um, think about how you cope with things. And also during a Mercury retrograde, we shouldn't be. There's a great deal of um, opportunities. I can say opportunities for misunderstandings.
exactly.
So I say get a receipt, meaning that if someone says something to you, something that is of importance, right? You don't understand, ask. Or if you want to come across with something that is really important, make sure that the person who received what you said took it as you intended. Because here's the thing, too, we are all unique and different. So when we are interpreting something that someone says, to us. We come from our angle. So if there's uncertainness, ask.
Beautiful. That was exactly on my mind, and it ties into exactly what we're saying, especially during this time when things can be misconstrued. Use discernment. Think about what you're going to say, but also, as you said, find out if that person understood what you were trying to convey or did they interpret it a different way because this is a time when a lot of anger and stuff comes up because it's been misunderstood and
Yeah. Yes,
Be conscious, be loving.
exactly. Yes, exactly. And it also brings more intimacy into any relationship of any kind, on any level, when you try to communicate. Sometimes it doesn't need to be many words, but just make sure that communication is free flowing.
Clarify, clarify, clarify.
I'm
When
I'm going to make a joke with you. Can you please repeat that? No, I'm just kidding.
clarify, clarify, clarify.
And yeah, I think we actually are. Is there anything else? I know you probably want to add some more, right?
Well, we always have more to say, but it's for another day.
It's for another day. And I think we covered a whole lot of things here on different levels, different situations. Of course, it feels most often more challenging to approach someone who are dealing with challenges or trauma or grief or, those heavy
Yeah,
things that are a part of life. But don't be afraid of just reaching out. Sometimes maybe we don't need to say words. We just, I'm here.
that's
I'm
true.
here. Yeah.
And I found out from someone who experienced this, and I reached out and I touched them, and I had no idea that they had never felt that kind of a touch before. So you never know when you offer that kind of support that that may be exactly what that person needs at that time. So anything
That
that's
is
done with
beautiful.
love. Yeah, yeah.
And I want to add something at the end here. Even if we may have been thinking that we are not enough, we are always enough for those we are in a relationship with, whether it's friends or family or whatever it is, colleagues, whatever. We're
Hmm.
always enough.
Hmm.
We don't need to change ourselves or be someone else. Either we do say something that's going to show them that we see them, we are there, or whatever, but we are enough to do it, all of us.
Yes.
Yes,
And that comes from loving yourself and knowing that you have value, and you don't have to be like someone else, because for goodness sakes, we got enough of other people. We need to be our unique self. And
exactly. You know what? I have to say something funny before we end, right? When people ask about finding their true partner, right?
mhm.
And sometimes you can see that they are going to meet someone who's going to be have a lot of traits that they have, right?
Yeah.
But they're also going to have things that are different. And I make it a joke sometimes, and I say that, that's a good thing. No one of us wants to be having a romantic relationship with our sibling, do we? Or twin,
Oh
right?
no,
No.
no. Different is good. Yes. You know.
Yes, it is. Are you ready to wrap up? Yes?
Um, I'm never ready to wrap up, but yes, I'm ready to wrap up.
So next time we have to sing, we have to make it a rap, and I can't rap.
should I
I'm
do
just,
that like this? You know.
yes. So thank you, everyone, interacting with us, being here, messaging, listening to us, watching us. You have been watching Cosmic Guardians with hosts Anne and Corrine, and we discussed guiding light, how to inspire and support those facing trauma, grief, and challenges, and paying attention to how we express ourselves. What words are we saying? How
Yes.
do we talk to someone, right? Our next live will be on Wednesday, July. next week. Wonderful, with host me and Corinne again. And we will talk about what's meditation got to do with it. And that's coming actually inspiration from a song with Tina Turner, right?
Uh-huh. Yes.
Plus your questions and free mini readings live with us if you so want to. We will go live as usual at facebook.com/cosmic guardians and youtube.com/at angel place on earth. You can follow us on those pages as well. And thank you for watching Cosmic Guardians. And we do really appreciate all of you. I'm sending love, light, peace, and joy to you all. And what do you say, Kareem?
I'm sending love, light, and laughter. And
Oh,
I see you.
that's beautiful. I see you too. Bye.
Bye bye.